Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Definitely.
So it's this English learning podcast called Daily Money Briefing.
Huh. Interesting. Okay.
It's actually pretty cool. You get the
Yeah.
financial news and kind of a language lesson all in one.
Oh, I like that. Sort of killing two birds with one stone.
Exactly.
This is where we cut through all the noise, look at the latest reports, the analyses, and really pull out the key nuggets. Today, we're diving into something pretty fascinating, almost a paradox, unfolding in Korea's economy. We've gathered some, well, compelling data points and expert takes that paint a vivid picture, sometimes surprising, actually. Our mission, to understand these contrasting themes we're seeing, from record-breaking digital asset surges to quite different realities in the job market and for entrepreneurs. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, and it's really crucial we look beyond just the headlines that grab attention, because these underlying currents, they reveal really complex shifts. And they aren't just abstract numbers, right? They impact real people, their lives, their livelihoods, and frankly, the future prospects for a whole generation. So what we'll explore today is kind of a snapshot, a dynamic economy in motion, showing some really intriguing divergences.
And speaking of headlines, let's start with a huge one. Bitcoin. The whole crypto world has been absolutely buzzing, and it seems Korea is, well, right there in the middle of it. The price on Upbit, that's Korea's main crypto exchange, accounts for a massive slice of the trading volume. It recently surged to nearly 165 million won. And this isn't just a local peak, it's actually the highest recorded anywhere globally.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating here is how directly this rally seems connected to global stuff, specifically things happening in the U.S. It looks like it's being heavily fueled by this growing anticipation in the U.S. Congress. They're kicking off what they're calling Crypto Week. Lawmakers are set to discuss three major crypto bills. One is the Genius Act.
Okay.
And this isn't just about stablecoins, The Genius Act aims for a much broader framework for digital assets, trying to integrate them more formally into the financial system. So this isn't just like organic market buzz then. We're seeing specific legislative moves or the anticipation of them driving this incredible surge. And it's particularly hitting a market like Korea's, which has a big retail investor base.
Sounds that way.
Yeah, market watchers are suggesting, if these bills pass, it could really bolster Donald Trump's pro-crypto stance, which could set the stage for even more bullish feeling. It's a really interesting mix, isn't it? Technology, finance, politics.
Yeah.
Where something happening legislatively half a world away has such an immediate, tangible impact.
Exactly. And it highlights this unique sensitivity in Korea's crypto market, with this high retail participation and also those regulatory arbitrage possibilities that sometimes lead to things like the kimchi premium.
Right, where Bitcoin trades higher there.
Precisely. So it just underscores how deeply interconnected this digital economy is now, especially when legislative clarity impacts investor confidence so directly.
Okay, so that's one story, soaring digital wealth. But here's where the plot kind of thickens. While digital assets are hitting new heights, let's pivot. Let's look at the stark realities unfolding, on the ground in Korea. Because the traditional labor market, it tells a very different and frankly concerning story. We're seeing fresh signs of imbalance. Just last month, new job openings posted on Work24, that's the main government job portal, they totaled about 151,000. Now that's a drop, 11.2% compared to the same month last year. And here's the really striking detail. It marks the 28th consecutive month of decline since March 2023. 28 months.
Wow. And that prompts a critical question. What's happening on the other side of that equation?
Yeah.
So while job openings are shrinking for such a long time, the number of new job seekers actually jumped by nearly 12% year on year, reaching almost 387,000 people looking.
Okay, so fewer jobs, more people looking.
Exactly. The job openings to seekers ratio, it fell pretty sharply, at 0.39. That's down from 0.49 a year ago. And this isn't just a number dipping. A ratio of 0.39 signals a dramatically tighter job market. We're approaching levels of competition we haven't seen in, well, quite some time. It's a direct indicator of increased competition, potential wage stagnation, particularly tough for those entering the workforce.
It really feels like a game of musical chairs where the music just keeps getting faster and the chairs keep disappearing. The sustained trend, declining jobs, rising job seekers signals a truly tougher environment for finding work.
Precisely. And this deepening imbalance, it can have profound effects on economic stability, individual well-being. It creates a kind of domino effect, impacting consumer spending, how people manage debt, overall economic confidence, especially, like I said, for young graduates or maybe people trying to get back into the workforce.
And it gets even more concerning when we look at the entrepreneurial side, particularly for young people, which feels like another really contrasting thread in this Korean economic paradox. For the first time since they started collecting this data back in 2017, the number of young entrepreneurs in Korea is actually falling sharply. In the first quarter of this year, the average number of business owners under 30, it dropped by over 26,000 compared to a year earlier, settling around 354,000.
And what's particularly striking about that specific data point is the context. Because even during the peak of COVID, the pandemic stress, and even the high interest rate shock of 2023,
Right.
the number of young business owners still managed to grow each quarter. Yet, starting in the third quarter of last year, these numbers began to decline. And that contraction has sped up since then.
So it wasn't happening during those crises, but it is now.
Exactly. Which suggests this isn't just a general economic downturn causing this. It seems to be revealing something deeper, perhaps a shifting risk appetite among Korea's youth. Maybe it's the increasing burden of student debt, or maybe the allure of, less volatile gig economy work. That wasn't as prevalent in previous downturns, making traditional entrepreneurship just seem less appealing or maybe too risky right now.
So it's a relatively recent trend then, and it's worsening fast, indicating maybe a severe slump in domestic demand, making it incredibly challenging for young people to start or even just keep their businesses afloat. It's a really, really stark contrast to that booming digital asset market. So what does this all mean for you, the listener? We've covered quite a bit of ground today revealing this Korean economic paradox. On one hand, this unprecedented surge in Bitcoin prices on Upbit, hitting global records, driven largely by international legislative buzz. Then we shifted to the growing strain in Korea's traditional labor market. That significant decline in job openings, 28 months straight, and a simultaneous rise in job seekers, leading to a drastically tighter job market. And finally, this really concerning trend, young entrepreneurs shutting down their businesses at a rate we haven't seen before, even during past crises.
Right. And if we try to synthesize these threads, these seemingly disparate pieces, what it really highlights is a complex economic reality. You've got a global phenomenon, like crypto's rally, driven by international factors, coinciding with really significant domestic challenges related to traditional employment and entrepreneurship, especially hitting young people hard.
Yeah.
So this raises an important question, maybe something for you to consider. Given this stark contrast, booming digital assets on one side and this tightening grip on traditional jobs and entrepreneurship for the young on the other, what long-term societal shifts might these converging and diverging trends signal? What could this mean for the future of work, for wealth creation? Are we maybe seeing a fundamental redefinition of opportunity here? Or is it just a temporary, albeit quite painful, economic rebalancing act?
Definitely a lot to think about there. We hope this was a useful shortcut to getting informed.
There, something to think about.